Welcome everyone to design requirement live streams. What everyone's been asking for, more spreadsheets.
Yeah, as Bal Monk says, immediately spreadsheet stream, let's go!
Without further ado, let's introduce our guests. We have in-house Jasper Brookman. I almost called you Hannes. Because he's on the Hannes channel. Hi, Jasper. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Jasper's from the Netherlands. The Netherlands engineers are famous for their ability to control water. Basically, they made their country double size by just pushing the sea out. And I think if the Dutch engineers can control the flow of water, perhaps they also can control the flow of marbles that are behaving quite like water. So very happy to have Jasper here for some design requirements help. We also have Hannes on a jittery camera. And Hannes will take care of chat today. And
I will leave the whole presentation to you two, so you can keep on working. But I will collect some questions every now and then and throw them out. But I don't want to derail you guys too much. But the first thing I'm gonna do, Martin, is please keep yourself in frame. When you get excited, you just go out of frame.
I'm going to try.
So that we can see your beautiful face the entire stream, okay?
I'm going to try my best. And the story about how Jasper ended up Jasper ended up here on this stream is that Jasper sent some really insightful and helpful emails, and I was like, I need to talk to you live. I think for me to make the design requirement work click, I need to talk to someone. And Jasper is the first of a row of guests that we're going to talk to. So I have, let me see, I have the CAD here. We have the design requirements here. But we're going to kick this off with a presentation from Jasper, I think, because you have prepared something. Is that correct?
Yeah, I prepared a very quick and dirty presentation, which I hope will help me explain some of the things I tried to write to you in my emails. I'm glad you didn't call me an expert at design requirements, because I don't think I am by any means. But I study physics. I have some design experience, and I think my general way of like problem solving could be helpful to you, and maybe help things click.
You already outed yourself as an expert, because experts always doubt themselves. So by actually talking down yourself, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna call you an expert throughout this stream.
All right, I'll try to prove you wrong then.
Perfect. So we're gonna go through the introduction from Jasper here, and then we're going to go into the design requirements and work together, get our hands dirty. But let's start here. Take it away, Jasper.
All right, awesome. Well, before anything, just make sure to ask me anything. Like, interrupt me at any moment. This isn't really me lecturing to you so much as I'm trying to explain and go through my process of things, really.
Brilliant.
So yeah, as I say in the subscript there, the marble machine isn't really a problem, but it could help you to see it as a problem. For me, it would be a mathematics problem or a physics problem. For you, well, I don't know how you usually write music or plan things, but it can help a little bit. Can you go to the next slide? So you already know this, obviously, but I also wanna get this clear for myself a bit. Where did the design get stuck before with the marble machine? I believe that part of that is that you have a lot of things you want to achieve with it. You want to amaze people. You want to make the best music possible. You want everything to work perfectly. And sometimes it can be hard to combine all of those ideas in your head into one that actually works for all of them. And when you do get to the point where you have a bunch of conflicting ideas and goals, you have to grab the angle grinder.
Good one.
So in a sense, you're going at the wrong problems with some wrong priorities. And I think part of it is also you jump to some solutions a bit too early. I think I'm trying to think of an example, but let's say that you weren't as open as you seem to be now to the moving fiberphone plates idea. If you were to already decide like they have to move, that's fine. It's possible. But that could conflict with other goals that you don't know yet because you haven't figured out the design requirements completely yet.
Perfect. Yeah. I think your summary here is brilliant. And basically, what I want help with is to make the design requirement click for me. And it's a brilliant slide here, Jasper, because basically the design requirements should help us avoid all these 4 things, right?
It should help avoid it, or at least help you understand that you are jumping onto something a bit too early, or that like it helps you understand why you're doing certain things and the risks that could be involved with it, right?
Yep.
So that, yeah, I mean, avoiding it would be nicer, but that sometimes avoiding it is impossible when you are making art, I think.
That's nice. Okay.
So really what a design is, in a sense, just a set of requirements, which are things like what functions something must perform, how well it must perform them, all types of requirements like that. You already kind of know this, I think. And it's also just generally ways to satisfy those requirements. Those combine into a design. And you can split this apart in just having the design requirement sheet and the CAD, which is, you could see it that way. But the design requirements can have some ways to satisfy requirements, but only once those ways to satisfy them are already set in stone, so to speak. But a design, in my mind mostly, is just also a big problem which can be is made up of smaller problems. If you're thinking about the CAD, you have the overall machine, and that's made up of the subassemblies. And those subassemblies also contain their own individual parts, and so on and so on. And all of those subassemblies and smaller problems can be broken down until eventually you'll get to little bite-sized problems that you actually know that are easily solvable and that don't interact with all the other parts of the machine as much.
That's brilliant. So that's where the tree structure comes from. And I guess you had a trademark logo here, eventually trademark?
No, that's supposed to be an angle arrow to the right, actually, but
okay.
Just imagine that there.
I thought you made a TM joke. Okay. That's brilliant, Jasper. So because I think I love the tree structure. So the tree structure here to the right, a big problem going down into a tree with smaller problems, and then you get bite-sized problems from that. And that's one of the things that I think I want you to help me with when we go into the spreadsheet, is because I got stuck on how to organizing the tree structure, tabs or not tabs, blah, blah, blah. And that's actually not important, but seeing it like this, I think it's really helpful. And the tree structure that is clicking for me. I have internalized that, and I love that system. So
yes.
The tree structure, I think, will be a great thing to take from this slide to organize the design requirements in a tree structure.
I think an important thing to remember is that the design requirements are supposed to help you, and the organization and categorization of everything, like even just the structure and all of that, is just to help you follow those requirements better when you're actually working on the CAD and designing things.
Yes. So the organizing of the requirements is not actually like a goal in itself. It's just an ends to a means. So perhaps I've been a bit stuck on that point pointlessly. Perhaps we should just talk more about how can they help me, and then the organization comes second.
Yeah, I think you already kind of started that when you were like just writing down some requirements and organizing it later and sorting it all out later. Essentially, when you were moving the things from the document to the spreadsheet.
Yep.
From the like the text design requirements to the actual spreadsheet. But yeah, no, I think we have to make it work for you, right?
Yep, sounds good.
Now there's just a little note about requirements, and you've definitely run into this already, but it's very easy to confuse a requirement for a solution already. One example is a requirement could be the machine will use a Huygens drive.
Oh, we know now how to pronounce it Huygens, because Christopher Huygens was Dutch. So can you say that again?
Huygens.
Huygens. I'm never gonna do it.
I would stick to the Huygens maybe.
Okay. Okay, cool.
But yeah, like that requirement is honestly a fine requirement if you know for certain that that is the way you will power the machine. Because it's not a very hidden one, but this requirement already contains a solution to the actual requirement that would be the machine's power source should be consistent. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. The good design requirements should be design agnostic. This is something that I've started to internalize for real. Something that I struggled with more, I think, last 1.5 years ago when I made the first try. So it makes a lot of sense. And I think actually if I go back to one of your first slides, or was it here? Yeah, because you started saying here, a design is a set of requirements, okay, and then ways to satisfy those requirements. And that, I think, is a super good difference between like the power source needs to be constant, is a requirement, and then how do we satisfy that requirement? Well, perhaps when we're at bite-sized problem 43, we find out that a Huygens drive would be a good solution, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm starting to get this. I know so much about this machine, so it's like that's also, you're helping me already now. Like, I need to really go back. Someone said in chat, like, think of yourself going into a marble machine store and telling the staff at the store what you want the marble machine to do. You're gonna buy this marble machine, okay, and they ask you, okay, so what are you gonna use it for? Then I have to tell someone who's never known the problem. I think I'm so far down the line in this project. Because I've been working on it for so many years, so it's hard for me to go back to this top level where you are taking me today, which I'm happy for.
No, exactly. That's completely true. And also, when you are shopping in a marble machine store like that, you could imagine that there's a bunch of things you want from your machine, but they may have different models for it, right? They could have a model with a moving vibraphone plate and one that doesn't have one. And those two models will satisfy certain needs of yours differently, possibly. Maybe they're the exact same, but one is more complex or whatever. But maybe one of them, like maybe you actually will know that one of those models, the one with or without the moving plates, will have slightly less precise timing.
And it will probably much more expensive, and it will be ready for me in 15 years. And while the one with the with the plates, so I think that's also perhaps a point where design requirements can help me. Is like to see those hidden costs. That me as an artist, I never think about costs. I never think about risk. I don't care if it takes time. I just want to do the idea. That's like being an artist. But for all other engineering projects, you have like a budget, you have a deadline, you have those constraints, and perhaps like those constraints that I've been so scared of, like perhaps those can help me make these tough decisions to actually finish. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So just to finish on the different model idea. Essentially, those different models just have different solutions to the same requirements. But I think a requirement can only contain a solution, like the machine would use a Huygens drive, when you have completely decided that that is what you are going to use to solve the requirement. The power zeros should be constant or consistent. Like I know it's a bit hard to say things like a requirement can never contain a solution, and then say a requirement can also be a solution. I think it depends a bit on what works best for you here. But the way I see it is that if we have a whole list of possible solutions, then as long as all of those meet all the same requirements, you can just choose whichever one you want. And then it can be okay to say, we will use this.
Now, basically what I'm getting from you right now, Jasper, is I need to really stop thinking about solutions and start to think about what do I need the machine to do.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's very Dutch of you. Sure, concise. I think so. Yes.
Yeah. No.
By the way, are you perhaps a descendant of Christopher Huygens? Have you checked that?
I have not checked that. I know that I'm a relatively far descendant from Peter Taylor, who also has a museum somewhere in the country. But that's I haven't checked the Huygens kant of things now.
Yeah. Before we go to the next slide, I just want to check with Hannes if chat is working, if chat is happy, if you wanted to say something.
They are very happy. Truths are being dropped.
Yeah.
They appreciate Jasper for being here.
Yep.
And yeah, we're all here having a really good time, you know.
Yeah, me
Awesome.
too. Me too. I'm absolutely loving this so far, Jasper. So yeah, we just go down with the breaking down problems.
I just want to highlight. I just have one here. Our dear friend Martin with a donation and a comment. Design requirements is back. Party.
Brilliant. Thank you, Martin, for being here.
You actually skipped over 2 slides there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Yes, that's the one.
Here we go.
Yes. So, in my so to help you see what I want to explain with this slide, this is kind of the difference between a must and a should.
Okay, so we have the shall, should, and may.
Oh yeah, sorry. Shall and a should and a may.
Is that okay to stick to that language?
That's completely fine.
Yep.
I've just been mentally using must, I think, because it requires things more. And well, okay.
What do you? Because I don't like the word shall actually. What do you have then? You have must, should, and.
I kind of just used must because that's something you have to do.
Yeah.
Should because it's something you should try to do. You could do should or want, but I think what works for you.
So you only have 2 levels?
Yeah, because the may is kind of. I don't know if adding potential bonus features is really a thing that you want to look at right now.
This is interesting. So I'm gonna derail a quick bit because now I'm just going to go into the. Just through me here, I'm just going to quickly go into the design requirements and show everyone what we're actually discussing. So here in the requirements, I think the systems one is the one that I've gotten furthest with. and I made this automatic filling field that if I add a text here, the machine should include a base. This field here is then automatically, and so it's like kind of a priority column that we're discussing. And I've been annoyed with the may level because should and may is like. So perhaps, Jasper, we should skip the may level. So in the drop downs here, we also have this may level, which is the lowest. And may is fun for me to sometimes to use. I have a nice idea. I just want the idea in there because I know it would be. I don't want to really kill that darling, but may is really kind of the darlings that I probably should kill. So perhaps I shouldn't change this now. But shall, so this is actually what we're discussing now, and you go down simpler. You go to 2 levels. Can you elaborate on why you're a little bit suspicious towards the may category?
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily suspicious to it, but all of the may requirements in my mind tell me like, okay, if everything works, if everything is already satisfied, then I would like to add this to the design if possible. That's how I see a may, right? Like it shouldn't prevent any of the other functions from working, but it would be nice if we have some extra bells and whistles.
I'm just showing everyone that Alphonse is working on the second resin print here. First print was successful from yesterday's stream.
Hey, focus, Martin.
Okay,
your teacher is talking.
sorry. Teacher is talking. Okay.
But yeah, no, I think with May, it's fine if you want to add it as like a bonus feature thing, but in a way, it doesn't feel like it belongs to the design itself. It feels like, okay, if everything works and it's possible to add some connection points to the frame, then we can add things. But I think that all of the may things might as well just go on an extra idea list.
That's brilliant. May stuff don't belong. Goes on a separate idea list just to feel that I've written it down. So,
and I mean that's also again how it feels to me. But if you think it should go there, or if you want it to go there, then that's perfectly fine. Because in the end, this whole sheet is just to help you design things, right?
I'm confused about all this, Jasper, and you seem less confused than me. So I think I want to steal some of your feelings. So thank you for that. I think that's great. May is a separate list.
Yeah. And then to go back to the shall and the should.
Yep.
Again, whatever word you use for it could be whatever you like. You can also call them bananas and apples.
Yep.
I don't care. But technically, that's how I view those as requirements and guidelines, because the shells all have to be fulfilled, the requirements, and all of the shoulds is things you want to do, but don't necessarily know how to. Like they're not completely required. So why I call it requirements versus guidelines is a requirement is just as you had before. It describes what must happen, not how it must happen. It is only one thing at a time, so no double requirements, as you were already doing.
Yep.
And of course, they should always be revised and changed and whatever when you discover a requirement is no longer good. The shoulds or guidelines should help guide choices in solutions. So if you have a problem, like in the tree before, and you have 2 possible solutions. Yeah, so if you have a bite-sized problem, one you can solve, but you discover there's 2 possible ways to solve this problem. And both of those ways satisfy all of the requirements that you put for them. Then I think a guideline can help you decide which one of the two could be better.
Can I just ask you then immediately, where does the guidelines go? Are they lower in the hierarchy, or are they next to a requirement?
I think they could be lower in the hierarchy requirements. They are the shoulds. Just to give you an example, you talked about, like, was it last week or the week before that already, about the transport requirements. Like the parts have to fit in flight cases and some size constraints and all that.
Yep.
I think that all of those constraints are actual requirements that you can set. Like the any part has to be a maximum of, what was it, 80 centimeters and 190 and whatever. But then a guideline that you may want to follow yourself is parts should be as small as possible. Like you set a maximum size. That's a requirement. You cannot or you shouldn't try to break that one. But obviously you want to have a certain look to the machine as well, right? So the machine should be relatively narrow and tall. It should be statuesque.
I like statuesque. That's a nice word. So guidelines, requirements are like real limits. We don't pass them. They are set in stone, and the guidelines is it's nicer if it weighs less. It's nicer if it play tighter. It's nicer if it's smaller. So we just know the direction, which can help me then communicate, like, to myself and to others. Why do I like solution A over solution B? Yeah, because it's smaller. Or but I'm still confused. Perhaps when we go into the spreadsheet, Jasper, you can help me think, like, where to put the guidelines, because I think, like, a module should be as small as possible. It's a very high level guideline. It's not a guideline that ends up at, like, row 2000 in the tree.
Right.
It's a big thing. It's a systems level guideline, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps let's come back to that. I'm gonna let you go on with the presentation. And
I think we'll figure out where that comes in automatically.
Yeah, because do you see what I mean? It's modules should be small. It's a high level thing.
Yeah,
but it's only a guideline. So
I think you might as well make a poster or write a list of the guidelines on a whiteboard for the entire machine, because all of the parts should try to follow those guidelines.
So these are almost like if we say the top three, like user. If we start from, like, if purpose is highest, why is purpose, and then next step down on tab 3 in our document is the user needs, and then almost like 3B is almost, or like perhaps just under that is like project guidelines or machine guidelines, is almost above system level requirements.
I think maybe yes. It depends a bit on how you want to see it, because in a way you can also see it as system level should requirements.
Okay,
right?
System level guidelines. So 4B, kind of tab 4B.
Yeah, but I think that as you work on the individual parts, you'll also discover that there are some things that you should try to aim for an individual part. But may not be able to as well, or what that wouldn't apply to others. But we'll come back to that.
Brilliant, Jasper, because this might help me, like, because I do always have a need to write these kind of things in, and then, like, I'm not supposed to, I don't have a place for it. So I think this is great. Okay, should we go down?
Yes, let's continue on.
Yep.
So this is just a quick overview of, like, how you break down problems in general. And you may know this, maybe this is new to you, but this is just if you have a big problem, the first step is to define the problem. And this may be a bit vague with the whole marble machine, because you'd think, okay, that's just write down the entire design. But it's more high level than that. It would be like, we want to have a marble machine to go on tour with. That could be the entire problem. There are some things that you know already about the problem. You know certain requirements, really. Like you already know that there's maximum size constraints. But there's also things that you don't know yet. Like you want to play music with it that you like to play. You may not completely know how that works into everything. So then you would break that into the smaller problems. Basically, it's going down the tree, right?
Mm.
And as you go down far enough, eventually you go from, I want to have a marble machine that plays, that I can go on tour with, to I want a marble machine that plays music with a vibraphone, to a vibraphone needs to play all of the notes I want with repetition, whatever, all of those requirements there. And at some point you get to, okay, we need to have a dampener. And that's then when you have gotten to those bite-sized problems, you solve them and you slowly work your way up the tree again. This is a bit vague. I didn't put this quite as clearly, but in the context of like mathematics or whatever, a problem could be find the area of a half sphere, just half of a sphere. You already know the radius of that half sphere, and then you will need to know how to find the area of a sphere and how to find the area of a circle, which are then two subproblems. There's two ways or multiple ways to then find solutions to the things you need to know. And eventually you choose the best solution using a guideline, for example. This is a bit vague, so I think we should skip this slide and go to the next one, which makes things clearer a little bit. So this is the same idea, but a bit more applied to the marble machine, I think. Your overall goal, I think, is you want to go on a world tour with a mechanical music machine. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
I think some of the main requirements for you to go on that world tour is that you want to have a machine that plays music mechanically. Technically, this is already a solution to your problem.
Yeah.
But you definitely know you want to do this, so it's fine to put it in as a requirement. Your machine should amaze people. I put should here because that's more of a guideline in my example here.
Yep.
But it could also be a real requirement if you want to call it that.
It's also what my friends from the university here in Stockholm, who are guests later this week, call magical versus logical requirements.
Right.
And amaze is subjective. It's always, what is amazement? It's not measurable, it's not binary, it's not a 1 and 0. So the should goes for all the subjective wordings that we have with art. Art is subjective. So then the should is really helpful.
I think so, yeah.
And the logical versus magical, I think, is kind of a nice way to phrase it as well.
It's whatever works for you, right? Another sub-problem is the machine must actually be able to go on a world tour. And I think that's a separate type of sub-problem to solve. And then again, you can if you have a machine must play mechanically, then, well, there's multiple ways to do that, right? So you could do it by dropping marbles. You could do it by using hammers, whatever. You can decide that this means it shouldn't have any electronics, but you can also say you want to have a motor in it.
Yeah.
Which is technically still mechanically, but not the same. So this is the very highest level, of course. But what you don't see here is that all of these requirements will affect the design, and they should all affect the solutions you find for these requirements. Because the machine must play music reliably will in some way affect that the machine shouldn't have electronics. Because in a way they're conflicting, right? The way to play the music the most reliably would be to have electronic triggers and whatever. And then have a motor for very consistent power and all of that. So the requirements don't really don't always flow down. They can sometimes go sideways, and it's important that you go down to the bite-sized problems and really see how you go down to bite-sized problems that have all of those higher level requirements already inside of them.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on all this. It's just perhaps where you can help me today is that in your example slide here, it looks fantastic. It's like, yes, it's like so simple. There's the goal, there's the requirements, here's the constraints. This machine is so complicated. So like this blows up on me. Like
Yes.
all the tree structures I'm trying to go is like immediately like exploding in front of my eyes and in my head. So like I think that's where I think I really need help, like how and maybe an outside perspective. I hear that you are very knowledgeable about the project already, which is like such a luxury for me. Like that people are already like so in tune with the problems I'm trying to solve. But how your slide is beautiful, but how do we do something like this in our spreadsheet without it completely just blowing up in our faces? From the sheer like magnitude of issues.
I think part of that is to really try to keep solutions out of the requirements as long as possible.
Good one, really good one.
Because I think as we're gonna look at the requirements in a bit, and I think you'll see that more of those already have solutions in them than you'd think.
Interesting.
And really in a way that once you have a solution set in stone, right? Once you have a solution completely defined, you can kind of just collapse that group and forget about it.
Stay there, Jasper. I'm internalizing what you just said. I'm really loving that thing. I'm just going to go over to I need to switch. Oh, I can switch like this. I want to go over and make a note what you just said here. So, how to avoid Rex exploding on us is cleanse the Rex from solutions. More Rex than you, Martin, would imagine contains solutions. A lot of the things that are in there, I'm aware of that, but I haven't really perhaps internalized how much it would help to remove them. And then what was the second thing you said? Yeah, when we go to a solution, once we complete a path from highest level rec to solution, we can collapse that branch.
Exactly.
But in my mind now, very, very, very cool. This is like kind of I I think I have had a coin drop moment there, that like why it's been feeling so unmanageable is that it's just this confusing mix between solutions and requirements, and we just have to cleanse that. But then the next thing that is in my brain now is that it sounds, rather than the tab structure that we have now, if we go with all these tabs, it feels like we just want to have a much more organic structure where every little path is its own tree, kind of its own branch. And so maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. We can go back to that later, but it feels perhaps we jumped the gun on the solution of the organization. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe. That depends on what works better for you. I think that the tabs themselves are kind of solutions already, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because right now, let's say one of your requirements is the machine must play music.
Yeah.
Then you have your entire tab 5, which is the instrument requirements. Which and this whole requirement section tells you this is already a solution to that requirement, like okay, the machine must play music, so you will have instruments on the machine. May seem very obvious, right? But you could have this under the system tab technically, but I think for organizational reasons, it's fine to keep it in tabs. But like you'll see, like you have the vibraphone requirements 5.1.
Yeah.
Once you've completed all of the sub branches of the vibraphone requirements, you know exactly how you're going to make a vibraphone. So you don't have to think about those requirements, that entire branch, until you're actually making the vibraphone, and then you can collapse the branch again.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I've been even thinking like perhaps we should do the exercise. So if it's so interesting that the whole instrument tab itself is a solution, so perhaps we should actually go do this exercise. The vibraphone is a solution. So on the systems level, we should actually have a requirement that says let's make a line like this. It says like the machine shall, or to use Jasper lingo, must play a melody with a must play a melody that can must play a musical melody. Musical melody, such as a lead singer in a rock band. That's bad English, but here I'm saying I want the machine to be able to play a melody, like, and later I will find out what should I use for that. Like, I can't use a drum kit because that's not playing melodies. It won't be able to. And then, okay, and then I have a should that it's like, oh, I want the sound to be dreamy and cool. And I'm like, maybe I should use a vibraphone for that. But it's like, that's later. It's not here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So to go back to this, and then like we have another requirement that is like, the machine shall play a musical beat that grooves. Grooves is not a musical beat that keeps the time. Okay, so that's a requirement that leads further down in the tree that, okay, maybe we can have a drum kit. So you, okay, good. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that you'll even see that technically you could even see that these two requirements you just wrote are solutions to the requirement the machine must make or must play music Martin likes.
Okay, yeah.
So like just to be really pedantic and boring about that, like you can really go very high level if you want, but at some point it becomes meaningless.
I think you know the audience well enough that they don't think pedantic is boring. That's their Super Bowl, right, Hannes?
Folders.
Folders and yeah. Okay, so should we move on? Chat
Yeah.
Chat is
we're
still
almost
happy with
Chat is still happy. There's discussions happening, but what I want to do for the people that just arrived to the stream, let's just introduce them to what we are doing and who is talking. We have Jasper Brookman with us today. Super mega design requirements expert, a god of design requirements. I know he wanted me to say that. Right, Jasper?
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And he's holding Martin's hand in this design requirement jungle, helping Martin to understand them better, how to implement them to the marble machine itself. So, are you gonna go over to your requirements now, Martin, and start working?
Yeah, I think we have some slides left of the intro presentation here.
Yeah, there's just a few things left, which helps you maybe also come up with a nicer flow, like a nicer general workflow with the design requirement stuff, because I know just weeks of spreadsheet streams are only fun for the audience. Yeah, so I think in general the way that you want to approach this problem solving is, once you've broken down a problem as much as you can, then you can start thinking of solutions to that problem. You can come up with a possible solution. You may not know if it works yet. Then you'd prototype, which you enjoy, I hope. You try to actually build it. You'd test it with all of the requirements that you're trying to satisfy. You may improve it, and then you'll repeat to a new possible solution. So with what you were doing with the moving vibraphone, right? You're technically trying to find a solution to a problem you don't yet know, but you're prototyping that. You'll test to see if it all works and satisfies like the timing and actual manufacturing, and if everything, if you can actually make it work. You may improve it slightly based on the results of that test, and then maybe you'll try to see if the other possible solutions will also satisfy those requirements. So you don't have to basically, when you're in the design requirements and you're down completely one branch, then you can prototype and try to solve slowly up the branch back to the tree trunk.
So you're kind of, that's wait, okay, I'm going to go back and write another note here.
Okay.
So it's basically, once you are down at the correct level in the tree, prototyping is the correct step. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
so
I think so.
But so you said something about the moving plates, like that I'm solving a problem that I don't know. What is it? Did you mean that I haven't done the job of clearly defining the problem first?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
I think at least in your mind you know why you're doing it and what you want from it, but I don't think you've completely decided, or you haven't completely written down like what with the timing precision and how well people must actually be able to see it move.
No, it's because that's like I think a knowledge I have in my head that the audience doesn't have is what me and Hannes says, is that the marbles don't show up on video. They're moving so fast you hardly see them. When you stop a frame, the marbles are like long, like a shooting star blur, because they're moving so fast, and the depressing of the note is communicating this in this satisfying way what music has been played. And it's like such a huge value to me as an artist to have that communication from the machine, that the machine is communicating with its audience what it's doing and why it's sounding like it is. That and so basically the marbles aren't as visual as you might think, because they're going by so fast. So that's one of the things in that specific problem. But I like what you said here, that like I need to actually know, I need to go down the branch and know, like, okay, I'm actually iterating on something important.
Why are you prototyping, right?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. So that's the time for the next slide. And this is, again, just a simple example to try to help you sort of understand, or help me understand how to explain it as well. Let's say we're designing a chair. Let's say we have one requirement: it must support a person sitting on it. It shouldn't collapse. It should support a person. We're not talking about people standing on the chair, whatever.
Yep.
And we have one guideline for ourselves: it should be stable, and it shouldn't wobble. I don't like sitting on chairs that wobble. Now, there's some possible ways that we can satisfy the requirement with. We can build a chair with 3 legs. We can build one with 4 legs. We can build one with just a simple metal frame. But there's 3 different ways that we can build a chair that can support a person sitting on it, right? Now, the guideline here would help us determine that, okay, using a 3-legged chair would be the best solution for our case here. And I think, I don't know, you probably know this, but a 3-legged chair never wobbles.
That's why Jimmy DeResta builds 3 legs for his metalworking machines sometimes.
Exactly.
I've seen that, yes.
It's all on a 3 points define a plane.
Yeah. In an uneven floor, that's a really great go-to.
Exactly. But yeah, so this is like the guideline helps us decide what solution is best, but there are multiple options. And also, if you think about the like your real problem with the moving vibraphone plates is the machine, or the audience should get some visual feedback for when notes are played.
Yeah. Then another solution is to have the funnels move when being hit.
Yeah.
Because
or the kinetic fingers.
Ooh.
Or
yeah.
Or you could even say we use LEDs that light up when a plate is hit. That trigger with audio.
Now I'm not with you, Jasper. Now you lost me.
No, but okay, so what I'm saying is that is technically it would satisfy the requirements, but the guidelines, which tell you no electronics, would tell you that is not the solution you'd go for.
Okay, yeah, good.
So then just the final very final slide, just wrapping things up. You want to write requirements from the top down. You already know this, but I think you really want to have a solid grasp of some things like the machine should play music precisely, and the size of parts should be this and this and this.
Yeah, I know it, but I've had a really hard time executing on it. Maybe because I'm impatient, but because I feel like I'm 10 years late and I'm embarrassed that the machine is not done. So I have this stress. I think I have this stress. I want to get on. Like, I still want to start at point 6 of the to-do list, basically. And I think that's brilliant from you, Jasper. Already I'm like, okay, Martin, calm down. Back to the real foundation of the project, and I haven't really had the the calm of actually staying at that really top levels. I know it, but I haven't acted on it.
I think a part of that is also that it feels like once you start there, you have to write out all of the requirements before you can actually like do anything, right?
Exactly.
Like you have to write it all and then you can start building it.
Yeah.
And I think that like what I said earlier with you really just need all of the requirements for one branch.
Oh, this is brilliant. Okay, I'm gonna stop you there. I need to go to here.
Hold your
because
horses.
this is another coin drop moment for me here, Jasper. Start top down, but yeah, this is exactly. It's been exploding on me. I'm like, I can't summarize this 10,000 part machine with my whole lifelong dream, like in text. Start top down at the very highest level, but no need writing all recs from the start. With one branch solidly written, defined. Thank you. Solidly defined. It's okay to go down that branch and mix up the work with some tinkering. I should,
in Martin's own words.
I should do some text wrapping or just zoom out.
And in a way, you're just kind of pruning the requirements at that point because you're trying to cut off that branch by completing it, sort of, right?
Pruning my requirement garden here.
Yes.
Pruning the requirement. And also because it is an iterative process. Once I do that for one part, so like today we're 3D printing the silicone parts there. We're curing it on the left station. I'm printing a new part on the right station. I think a 3D printed silicone is going to be a big weapon in my arsenal of solutions for this musical machine, for dampening. I think it's a lot of stuff. It's a process that I have no experience in. If I now go down the tree of holding the vibraphone bar, and I'm kind of learning as I'm going, and that will inform other possible solutions in other branches. Right. So I think this is very, very helpful that you're kind of giving me the okay to go prototyping once I've done the solid work of actually defining the problem I'm prototyping by the requirement. Pruning the requirement by cutting off that specific branch. And then we can have a much more mature discussion of how we're spending our time. Like, can I defend this prototype that we have in the studio? And can I defend this printing? Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's
because
brilliant.
you right now you're trying to see if you can make the moving vibraphone work, right? You're testing to see if that solution is actually feasible to build and if it'll satisfy all of the requirements.
Yeah, and it's far down. So I guess what people like, wow, you were supposed to write the design requirements, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because like you haven't really decided that it shouldn't mess with the timing, or maybe you have decided it shouldn't mess with it, but you don't actually know how much you will accept or yeah.
The timing issue is another part that I think it won't. I don't think the movement will mess with the timing. But that's another discussion.
Well, I mean, if it will or won't, that's a question. But you don't want it to, right?
No, exactly.
And that's the requirement.
Yes, that's great. And also, I just want to say like that this is exactly where I've been stuck, because I really thought I had this sinking feeling if someone watched I got pissed off during those design requirement streams because I felt like I'm going to lose against this monster because I need to write all of them down. And now you're just saying this very simple thing that I don't need to write all of them down. But I need to work like in a mature way. I need to write the ones down that will defend me going into physical prototyping. So that's brilliant. Okay, let's go back to your slide.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a final thing with the just saying again that like organizing things in functional and performance is just an organizational tool that may or may not work for you. Like the question you have to ask yourself with all of the organization you do is when you are thinking of ways to design a vibraphone dampener, how will you ask the design requirements what to think about? Like, will it be enough for you to just go up the tree and look at all of the requirements that are above the dampener? Or do you need that functional performance categorization? That's really just a thing for you to see, like how do you organize it?
That's also brilliant. There's a big debate about the name functional requirements. There's a lot of YouTube videos like criticizing the naming convention of non-functional requirements because they're important as well. And I got stuck. I'm one of those that gets stuck on that wording. I'm like, it's like, it hurts my brain. And so, but then a question about that, Jasper. Don't you think I can go wrong if I mix these kind of requirements? Why are people so adamant about dividing them in categories?
I think a part of that is when you're actually working in big teams, you'll have a team that's purely working on performance of some device, right? You'll have people that only care about seeing how well something conducts electricity. And then there's other people that are looking at, well, what do you actually want to do with a transistor or electronic part? Like you have a whole team that's looking at, let's say we have a lamp factory, and there's one team that's looking at, okay, the lights must be this and this color. Oh, we want the light to have Wi-Fi as well, whatever. A smart lamp. And then there's a whole team that uses those functional requirements as a way to design the lamps. Like, okay, the light must be green and yellow. Doesn't have to be another color. And they focus on that. And then there's another team that's performance, and they make sure that the design that the other team worked on will also be bright enough and won't be inefficient. And I think that's why those types of categorization is for bigger teams, or I think that for you it's not necessarily that useful to think about.
Because this is another thing that has made my tree explode on me. Because when we start all these subcategories, like vibraphone requirements are all of a sudden spread over a whole forest of trees instead of like following just down its own path. So I really like this input. I'm going to go do another Jasper input here. Is that rec categories should only help Martin. Is that correct? So functional versus performance division might not be important. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I'd say so. Yeah, exactly. It's because really you're the only person working on the design, right?
Yeah, currently I'm and that's also interesting. Like, I want to branch out and invite people to work on clearly. This is an interesting, another perhaps a little coin drop here, Jasper, because I don't want to ask for help right now because I don't have clearly defined bite-sized small problems enough that I can explain people what I want them to solve. which means that all the CAD engineers who can easily go into Onshape and do CAD designs on the project currently, I don't want them to to waste their time on a ill-defined, too big of a complex problem. So my idea is to take, I'm doing the second iteration of the CAD, where I'm going to do the CAD more high definition, and then the requirements should also be more high definition, granular, more resolution, to talk video language. And then I want to find these small bite-sized problems where I can say, okay, so here we have a vibraphone holder. Can you suggest other materials? Can you suggest other geometry to reduce material use or to make it more beautiful? Can you improve on my design? Here's my solution. I have solved for these 5 issues, and it's not apparent, but you also have to think about these 10 requirements. And only then I want to ask for help, which is actually funny, because it just dawns on me that I'm doing, by not clearly defining the problem for myself, I'm doing what I don't want to ask other engineers to do.
You're doing that to yourself, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
It's was it for the Marble Machine X where you also just had people send in possible solutions and stuff to different problems you had?
Like basically what I did is that everyone, like, we want to help, I want to help. I'm like, yes, please help. And they started to help. And very often that resulted in people going down a path that wasn't useful. And very often I felt like I was letting people down, because they spent real time and real work. And all of a sudden, like, for some reason, it wasn't defined enough. They did good work, but on the wrong problem, basically. And that was so painful, like having so much help. That's why I'm holding back on asking people for help until I can clearly define the problem. And it just clicked that I should treat myself with the same level of respect, actually.
And it's also, once you do have an entire branch defined that way, right, down to the bite-sized problem, then it's possible to hand that out to the community, let's say, and ask for possible solutions.
Which if we talk about speeding up the project, clearly defining a branch and asking people to send in great work would be a multiplier in the speed of the project. And then I'm like, basically, either I can be on my work desk prototyping on one single of the 10,000 problems, or I can be at the highest level defining what the machine should do and then sending it out to like 100 people.
The swarm.
The swarm. So wait, let me do another Jasper input. This is pure gold, Jasper. I'm so happy that you're here. I feel that I'm had a lot of coin drops already, and also I feel like you're making me enthusiastic about the requirements, which is fantastic.
That's good. That's the goal.
The biggest coin drop moment is reinforced with a donation and comment from our friend Martin that says, you do need to write all the design requirements, but not all at once.
That's brilliant, Martin.
Yeah.
I think I also saw someone say something that I want to reiterate, that you don't want to tunnel vision to one solution too early. Just like you don't want to get stuck on trying to solve for a problem with a solution that won't actually completely work and all of that. But I think you already know this.
No, but it's you have it in your slides as well. And avoid tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Because that's happening to me a lot of times when people have helped, that they come with a curveball. What about doing this? And my brain has just never been in that universe, and it's a much better way of doing it. Avoid tunnel vision, and that could also be like getting other perspectives, or like I know in software you do red teaming. Other people try to break your code, and I think like I'm in a fantastic situation here where we all can learn together from the Marble Machine project. We can all have this as a learning thing. and I think I should have people shooting down my ideas, except for the movement of the vibraphone bar, which is not tunnel vision, which is like just artistic vision. Okay.
Right, of course. Artistic vision. You're looking at a painting through a tunnel.
That's a good one.
So yeah, this is a fantastic masterclass from you here, Jasper. It's funny because I told Jasper before the stream that we should not spend too much time in the presentation. I was like, let's do it in 10 minutes and then get to the real work. But there was so much value in this presentation, so it's me who has been like going into each slide. So this is the end of the presentation, right?
It is, yes.
Let me do a quick recap before we're going into the spreadsheet. Does that sound good?
Do you mind if I go to the toilet real quick?
Absolutely not. That works great. Yeah.
That you can recap and
actually, I need to do the same. We're going to leave the stream for Hannes, and then we're going to go back. So over to
the amount of pressure you're putting on.
Yeah. The jittery. I'm gonna give the jittery Hannes here. Oh, that's the wrong.
Well, you
camera.
Can't imagine the pressure my bladder's under right now.
Let's go to the 3D printer plus. Okay. Yeah. So see you in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
Okay, that's a wonderful image we get there. Just a 3D printer. Okay, I can talk over that. Together we can watch this epic slow TV moment right now, where the printer is working on the. You go to the toilet now, Martin. I see you still sitting there.
Yeah, I just wanted to find a good image for you to let.
That's okay.
I'll leave it there.
We leave it like that then. Okay, in the 3D printer, Alphonse is currently supervising the print of the second vibraphone holder that Martin will try on the stream this afternoon, when Martin is prototyping basically a whole prototype of how the vibraphone bars will sound and behave when being dropped. Should they even move at all? That is the big question. The question we always come back to is the whole vibraphone movement, right? So that is a big one. But this has been a wonderful teaching moment here, having Jasper here. Let's see if we get any questions on chat for me. Hannes, how are you? Is Cyber Marble wondering? I am okay. Thank you so much for asking. I felt a bit out of it yesterday, but I feel better today. You don't sound that good. Okay, so it comes through. I'm better today. I'm no worries. I feel better sitting here in streams at least. So riveting commentary. Thank you so much, Nathan. Yes, absolutely. So let's see if Martin will actually. It seems like he's learning quite a lot. It takes a while, you know, and repetition with everything, and hopefully Jasper's input will lead to something good, and we will have some more streams this week with more guests, and perhaps at the end of it all, Martin will come out with some good knowledge and a good path leading forward on where we're gonna take the whole machine. And I see Jasper is done. He's on the clock at least. Martin is still off, so I'm gonna switch over to our dear friend Jasper. How are you feeling so far?
Yeah, amazing. That was a great toilet visit, if you ask me.
Okay, the toilet visit. I was thinking more generally about the whole presentation. Great.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
You're having fun. You did an awesome job. And now Martin is back as well.
Yeah, it's. I'm just gonna run through this quickly because I do have 2 questions for you, Jasper. Now with some perspective. So perhaps we can put this link in the show notes to the presentation if you're fine with that, Jasper. If people wanna,
sure.
If you wanna share the knowledge, Hannes, can you like put the link? If it's
yes.
So it's a really good
Wait,
intro.
let me change it so that people can't edit. I think I have it on everyone can edit it if they have the link right now.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
let me just quickly change that to React.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
Don't do React. Just do Vue. Then you don't have.
They can react if they want to. Maybe that's
Okay.
some good input.
Okay. Good. Um. So where did we get stuck before? Jasper has identified exactly what happened, and we're breaking down a design in a tree structure from the big problem to the bite-sized problems, and we're confusing requirements for solutions. And one of the coin drop moments is that Jasper thinks that more of my requirements contain solutions than I'm aware of. And one way of making it manageable is to cleanse our requirements from solutions. Then we have the requirements versus guidelines. Requirements is the must, and it's a kind of a limit that we don't cross. The guidelines, you can call them logical requirements, and the guidelines are more these magical things to amaze the audience, to play. It would be great if it could play tighter music, or if it could play better songs, or if it would be more lightweight. Those are guidelines, and guidelines are okay to put in, but they don't have the God status of requirements, really. Then we're breaking down the problems. And clearly define the problem. And first, after we have clearly defined the problem, we come up with the solutions. It's that Einstein quote that is not an Einstein quote. If I have 1 hour to save the world, I'll spend 55 minutes defining the problem and 5 minutes solving it. And this is basically the lesson I'm learning all over. It's completely against my nature. I want to get going. I want to start digging shovel. I just hope that it's not like I'm not a lost cause, that I should just start painting paintings or something, or play music, that I can actually become an engineer and solve this problem. Then Jasper shows us this tree structure that looks very simple and beautiful here, that I challenged a little bit because on me the tree structure is exploding. So we're going to get into that now in the second part of the stream, how to make something as neat as this for a much more complicated machine. The design process with the prototyping, test, improve, repeat, possible solution. And here's also the important point: don't get tunnel vision, explore all options, which I'm actually pretty bad at as well. We have this simple example of a chair, and then finally for the model machine, write requirements from the top down, break them into smaller parts, think of possible solutions to fulfill the requirements, and then a little note that this categorization of requirement with non-functional or functional and performance requirements is just an organizational tool, and I've been stuck a little bit there. So this was, I got a lot of knowledge from this. This was fantastic, Jasper. Thank you so much again. I want to go.
You're welcome.
I want to go straight in here to our requirements, because I have two questions of maybe how we should spend our time now. One, I'm going to present you both ideas and see which one you like most. One fun exercise, perhaps, would be that you and me together now complete the branch that makes a vibraphone holder prototyping I'm going to do this afternoon valid. So basically, like, we complete the high-level system requirements that lead us down to me 3D printing a silicone holder for a vibraphone bar. So I can defend myself in the stream of how I'm spending my time. That's one. That would be really nice. One example of that you can help me. But then I have a second question. You haven't talked about user needs at all. And perhaps can we start there? Why haven't you told me that I need to start to make a big investigation with a big form, checking the market, what the users are needing to help inform the requirements? You just go straight for the requirements.
Mostly because, as you kind of already know, all of the user needs inform your requirements. Like the first one you have on the top, the vibraphone shall sound so that Martin is inspired to compose for it. This will inform the requirements for how you will design the vibraphone. And you could see all of these as individual requirements as well, but it's technically this is no different than if you were to like put out a survey to the audience, to yourself, to the crew, and ask them what kind of machine they want, right? That's the user needs. And from that, you would take inspiration to actually design it. So I think some of these user needs can directly go into requirements. Some of them just inform things, because you say the vibraphone shall sound so good that you won't cheat by replacing the recording. That's kind of already part of the overall requirement, or that feeds into the requirement. Like Martin wants the machine to make music that he likes. So I didn't really say anything about user needs, because it's more of a list of inspiration for the requirements themselves, I think.
If you would make me a to-do list then, because
Yes.
I got also annoyed with the user needs, because it felt it felt like a impossible task to do all the user needs. And perhaps if we go down to the Jasper coin drops, I'm gonna rename this to Jasper coin drops. I think it's oh yeah, perfect that you started on the to-do list. So I think like just it's the same here. I don't need to write all user needs at first either, like because it's just a task that I don't want to do. I can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me. So
maybe it helps if you see it as the whole presentation you had about like the transport requirement and that whole talk about that. That is essentially just talking to a user what they need. Does that make sense? Like
yeah. What doesn't make sense is what should I spend my time on today now? So that's
right. Okay.
Right. Maybe where you're going.
We're
with
not
your
spending
to-do
it on
list.
user needs, I think, because you know enough about that right now. I think a fun little exercise for yourself that you can think about is write down Martin's I don't know, 10 commandments, guidelines.
I like that you're talking to about me as a god.
And by which this is basically write down the overall magical requirements. This can be a very short list, just something like you want the machine to be imposing, and yeah. So I think that could be a fun first step, because these guidelines will guide all of your decision making.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I think we should try writing right.
All the cool guys have these keyboards
Mechanical.
that sounds
sorry.
like you're chopping wood.
You're giving Alphonse a run for his
Yeah.
money with his keyboard.
I have a bunch of keyboards for I play some rhythm games, so that it can be very noisy. My parents often complain.
Try breaking up the main problem.
Yeah, and by this I mean just very high level requirements. This is a trivial exercise, but can help form the trunk of your design requirement tree.
Yeah.
And then I think we should indeed go down a branch. So Martin. Go down a branch so you can defend yourself this afternoon.
Do you think we have I would wish this stream to be 5 hours more. We have 35 minutes. Should we like just do a smash and grab on all this? Just now go boom boom boom. Try to do this, or should we just do the last one? Yeah.
I think the first two can be done relatively quickly. This and we will need to do the second one to actually go down the branch.
Yeah.
And it may be that you'll have to go down the branch a little bit yourself before you can defend yourself, but we'll see how far we get.
Should I try the commandments? I have them in my head.
Yes.
Yes, this is this is what I need.
Here we go.
I need someone to talk to. Commandments. Okay. No electricity.
Like,
is that okay? Is that commandment?
Yeah, I think so. If that's something you will okay, remember, commandments here are kind of also the magical requirements and the guidelines, right?
I'm gonna tell you, Jasper. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on telling this story here. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I want the machine to do.
All right.
When I've been touring with my bands, I've always made a point of making the sound check being magical, because during the sound check, the staff of the clubs are there. So the waitresses and the people are there cleaning the tables, the people in the bars. These people are at work. They're not there to see me playing my music, right? And what I always wanted to do is that I wanted that they would stop working when we were sound checking, because they just couldn't pull themselves from the room. They needed to stay and listen. And this, like, I always watched the staff. Like, I was like, and I always told the band, like, don't fool around. Like, we're gonna put the instruments up, and then we're gonna just like punch them in the face with amazingness. Like, and especially the people who are not there to like, they don't know who we are. They have another day at work, and it's just another band coming in. But this band made them like stop in their tracks. So that's why I have a requirement somewhere. I'm not going to go and copy it now. Amaze people so that they stop in their tracks and call their friends to talk about it. To me, this is super defined. Yeah, because I've seen it, I lived it, and I was like, this is for me, like, I'm not as kind of a person as I play on stream. For example, when I see art that I think is not living up to this, I'm like, I respect everyone creating art. I think the world needs more art, blah 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 blah. But I have this, like, I think maybe it's one of my strong points. I have some kind of feeling for quality with stuff. It's like, as an artist, I have that, and I'm like, this, I think, is to amaze people so that they should stop in their tracks and call their friends to talk about it. That's the first level of, like, approved level of, you get a passing grade for your art if you do this. This is what I think should be our lowest level.
A passing grade should be people drop everything and stop and call their friends.
Yes. 100%. I'm serious. I'm like serious. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in anything else. And for the that's why, and it's also hard. That's why I haven't done another album. I'm a perfectionist, and I like blah blah blah. But okay, so that's, to me, when I want the vibraphone plates to move, that the moving vibraphone plate will stop the bar staff in their tracks and call their friends to talk about it. It's kind of a stomach feeling I have. So I just wanted to make the detour why that's so important to me. Okay, I'm gonna try to fix the zoom here. The machine should, you added there.
Yeah, because that's these are I think these are guidelines. These are things you try to achieve for the machine.
Yeah.
They are not necessarily required for its function.
Okay, so play music that headphone listeners want to listen to without seeing the music. I'm picturing someone commuting to their work often sitting in a train or a tram, like a movie scene, looking like emo out of the window, and listen. Yeah, and listening to the Marble Machine without seeing it, and they get dreams and visions about what their life can become.
I already listened to it like that on my bicycle.
Perfect.
The first one.
Perfect. Thank you. That makes me happy. So that's another one. So we have 4. We need 6 more. So okay. So be safe. I actually don't want to worry, and be reliable, because I have another one. I want to be able to sleep the night before premiere. Like, I'm picturing myself being like devastated from being nervous the night before. We need it to work. So now we have 6. We need 4 more. Do you have any input?
No, we don't have to. Go? We don't have to get to 10.
Okay.
But I think
sculpturesque. I'm gonna steal your term. Sculpturesque. Rescue.
I think
perhaps then, if I just think about my life, I'm not young and promising anymore. I would like to go on a world tour pretty soon, actually. So let's say, Hannes, when do you want to go on a tour?
I mean, my schedule is opening up next month. It all depends on how many streams we're gonna do. We want to go soon.
Yeah,
we have we still have a couple of good years left in us, Martin, to wreak some havoc out in the world. We need to get going.
I don't want to be in my 50s on the world tour premiere. Okay, that's like, I don't want to be 50. World tour premiere before Martin is 50.
You see, chat, I'm hearing hearing deadlines.
World tour premiere before Martin is 50. That's a constraint, actually.
Transportability, someone added here in chat. That could be a good commandment, right? Since it needs to go on tour.
World tour ready. Transportable, and inspiring to compose for.
Yeah, I think all of the commandments are things that you can like carve into stone tablets, receive on some mountaintop, right? And then if you're working on your designs and you're thinking like, what should I choose here? Then you consult the commandments for the right option.
Sounds good. So the commandments are not requirements; they're above. They're like
they're from God.
Okay, should we go down your to-do list then?
Yes.
To get going? We did that pretty quickly. Try breaking up the main problem. Very high level requirements. Over to you, Jasper. I don't know how to do this.
All right. So we can work on this just on this sheet, and we can categorize it later if it all works for you. But these would already go in the systems tab otherwise, I think.
Oh, they're actually straight into there.
Yeah, I mean, like our main problem, or like even the main requirement, so to speak, would be we want to go on a world tour with a mechanical music machine. Or we must go on a world tour with a mechanical music machine.
I like
that's a requirement, right?
So I'm just looking here. Is it a functional requirement? You asked me to not use these headers anymore.
Hang on. Let me just actually scroll down. Not to destroy any of your work, but let's just start a new little list here, because we can fit those things into this list later as well, right?
Okay. Yep. So you're on. I'm showing viewers what you're doing now. You're in the tab 4.
Right. I mean, we can call it 4 if we want, but this is just the machine, or well, okay, we're already assuming we're having a machine, but really it's a user need that there's a machine. So, um, we must go on a world tour with a mechanical music machine. I call it must, but maybe we do it. We shall.
It should.
No, it's not a should.
Okay. No, I'm gonna change to Jasper language in honor of Jasper, the requirement god. I don't want to see that ugly word shall anymore. Must is better. One letter less as well.
And verification method is go on a world tour.
We're just verifying Hannes when we're on the world.
Verifying that you actually have that, yes. All right. So then, let's say your sub requirements for this is okay. How are you actually going to go on a world tour with a mechanical music machine, Martin?
I need a machine.
Yep. Good. Great. We must have a machine that well, okay, we already pretty set on using marbles for the music.
Yep.
It seems kind of important.
Well, I mean, in the requirement number 4, we're only with mechanical music machine. We're not talking about a mechanical marble music machine or music marble machine.
Yeah, so perhaps that should go actually, because it's I'm gonna go add marble, mechanical marble music marble machine. I should write. It should be. I think it should be in the top one actually.
Sure.
Because that's the whole idea.
Well, the way to actually verify that we have a machine that plays music with marbles is play some music with marbles.
It's funny how Jasper uses a dot after each sentence. You did that in your presentation also. It sounds much more final when you add with a dot. I love it.
It's just punctuation is important, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're artists. We don't understand that. We're so floaty.
I like it. It looks commanding.
Let's say, okay, another part of actually going on a world tour with a mechanical music marble machine. We already have a machine that plays music with marbles. Another part of that is that, well, we have, it should amaze people, but that's not a requirement for the design, so to say. But the machine must be world tour ready. And by that, we are talking both about it must be reliable.
Yeah,
but
should that be 4.21 reliable?
I would say so, yeah.
So I'll put that in. 4.21 must be reliable. Dot. I think I should also write the machine because Jasper does that. Okay.
Whatever works for you, man. If it works for me, it doesn't necessarily have to work for you.
And must be transportable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't have the punctuation.
And maybe we also want to say the machine must be safe.
Yeah.
That's just pretty general. Okay,
yes,
well, how?
So people would criticize me. These are not measurable. It's vague language. They would say now reliable.
Yes.
You have to define reliable with numbers. Safe with numbers. Transportable with numbers. Are we free of that here?
I think that there are multiple ways that you could call something reliable. So we have to define even that. Like that's the numbering may not be completely useful for all of the requirements. But I think like, okay, the machine must be reliable in what ways? It must be reliable. It must play music reliably, right?
Yeah.
Or it must work with minimal setup.
Yeah.
And you could technically say, okay, that's a verification method, but I think that it could help if we say, wait, how do I move things?
On the lines, on the numbers. Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
got
okay.
it. You got it.
So okay, the machine must be reliable. Let's say we have okay. Again, the numbering may be a bit cumbersome if you want to keep it that way. Oh, those numbers. Okay.
It's another format. It's fine.
Oh yeah, okay. The machine must play or must require minimal tuning when built on stage.
Yeah.
I'm just saying something here, right? But this is kind of these are the kinds of things that will also inform your other requirements
Yeah.
from lower levels.
Just for fun, let's go down that branch.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. No, wait. Am I
4.1.2 would be one way of it being reliable. Yeah. That's why I think the numbering.
No, yeah. People advise against using the numbering, and I think that could be perhaps in the beginning just skip the numbering altogether. I don't. That's another good discussion. But the machine must require minimal tuning when built on stage. Like, if are we going in this branch? Will we find? Will we find that the bass needs to be able to be tuned, or is that like not really here? No, we're under reliability constraints now. We're not under actually.
This is just in general, right?
Okay.
For all parts of the machine, do you have to tweak the marble drop height every time you build the machine, or is that something you want to be more reliable?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Tuning. I went to music instruments. Here, tuning of the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's technically also part of it, right?
Yeah. It's the same. Okay. I see what you
Like
mean.
you could say the timing
But
of
this is.
the.
Yes. No. Sorry. Go ahead, Jasper. But it's exploding now. Like it's like exploding because we're already saying like we don't. So we're like, okay, the problem right now is like we're saying, oh, the numbers are cumbersome. Okay, so let's remove them. What do we have done? We have a list that I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think that the numbers are fine, but at some point in the, let's just say, if the numbers can define like a requirement or a sub problem. So let's say that we already down the entire branch with minimal tuning here, then we don't need to number it anymore. Does that make sense?
Okay, so once we pass the chasm to what do you say, solutions? No, or to problems.
No, I mean problems and solutions. I think
problems, solutions,
whatever. Yeah.
Numbers cease to exist. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So if we're like, I think this branch actually isn't that big, as you'll see in a moment here. But we'll say the machine must require minimal tuning when built on stage. So one part of that will be the timing of the notes or marble drops or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so technically, parts need to be assembled with an automatic accuracy of something millimeters is a solution to your reliability problem.
Okay, yeah. Oh, but so, and the timing of the notes does not have to be adjusted after assembly. So requirements is not a solution, right?
You could say that that's a requirement, and it's also a solution to minimal tuning.
Oh, I see. So can I rephrase my parts need to be assembled with an automatic accuracy in a way to make it a requirement? Or
so right now we're grouping it under the machine requires minimal tuning. Would you say that's a part of that, or would you say this is part of it being reliable, like reliably built?
I see what you mean. It's maybe not under the correct branch. So yeah, it's just like I get this stomach feeling again here now, Jasper, about exploding in my face feeling. So perhaps like we should spend the last. What do you think about trying to go to point 3 on your to-do list? Is to defend my afternoon stream?
That sounds good.
So because what we did now was try breaking up the main problem, I guess. But now, if you just give me an example of get all the way to my
all right.
I'm 3D printing currently a second holder for the vibraphone. I'm gonna try them out this afternoon. And have fun with that. Defend me.
All right, awesome. Okay, so we do have to go back to sheet number 4 for this.
Yeah.
Because we're going down the branches, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now we're actually talking about music here. So I'm just going to call this 1.1, whatever. The machine uses or the machine must use instruments that are played by marbles. I'm saying that as a start of the branch, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, technically, we can explode it in here. We can also go to the instruments tab. And look at the requirements there. What do you prefer here? Do you want to just go down this branch quick and dirty, let's say?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's do it here.
All right.
For now.
Yeah. So I think this needs some refinement, but let's say okay, we use instruments that are played with marbles. So then, okay, now
it's a melody commandment there.
Yes, so we know what kind of music and what kind of instruments you want. Because there's so many ways that you could use instruments played by marbles. I don't know that many of them, but you can imagine many.
Yep.
But we've decided, okay, we will use a vibraphone on it.
So that's a solution.
Yes, it's a solution to the machine must use instruments that are played by marbles.
Yep.
So,
but I feel uneasy now about adding a solution. But now you're saying that when we know the solution, we actually can add it.
We can turn it into a requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, I think don't get too hung up on the definitions and the rules. If it works for you, it's fine.
Okay.
So the machine must have a vibraphone. Is vibraphone capitalized? I don't know. That's a fine requirement, right? We have a vibraphone on it.
Yep.
And yeah, no, okay. Now we do have other commandments that guide how we want the vibraphone to play. One part of it is that you want it to play music you like to play.
Yeah.
So some requirements for the vibraphone that you'll have and that you already know you want are you want the vibraphone must play I don't know the word. Let's see what wording you use actually. Like if you're completely set on it, the vibraphone must have 37 notes. Technically, that's also already a solution.
Yeah.
And it's a solution to the machine must have a vibraphone and and that the machine plays music that you like to play.
Yeah, it's like dynamic music. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it can play low and it can play high.
Yeah, but it's technically one solution to that problem, because another one would be the you switch out the plates.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is technically not a this doesn't really matter for the branch we're going down. I just wrote it down because I want to give you an example of a different branch forming there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking
perhaps
at
Jasper, like, perhaps you can just tell me that everything is gonna be fine, because I feel now like there's 2 million ways to do this. Like, there's no right way, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I have this. I think I have this uneasy feeling now. Like, why is that in that branch, and why is that in this branch? And I think perhaps, like, because you're not neurotic at all about this, and I think it's like the end of the world. And you have this. You're like Luffy from One Piece about these design requirements now. You just write them. And so can you kind of like just tell me why is it okay to just like it feels like I get this like kind of anxiety about putting things under the wrong branch, and you feel like when you're doing it right now, you feel like, it can be here, it can be blah, 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 blah. Can you just talk about that? Like, why I think I've been stopped by this perfect system kind of chasing. Why are you not stopped by that?
The simplest way to well, the reason I'm not stopped by it is because it's not my marble machine. I'm not building it. So that helps a lot, right? I don't feel the same pressure you do with it has to happen, it has to go right. But also it's an iterative process. We discover that like the design requirements themselves are flexible. They can change when we need them to. So I'm just like, we'll discover that if I go down the branch directly like this, we'll discover we haven't actually said anything about how tight the music must play. And that's fine. We'll just write it at that time. The important thing is that you do have a somewhat that you have a well-defined problem that you're trying to find solutions for. So you want to know exactly why you are using the silicon printer. And then the way you actually categorize the requirements themselves aren't that important. Unless you really need that to work structured. But I think that you probably work best if you find some structure in your own chaos, right?
Yeah,
because even making this is a creative process.
Oh, you mean making the requirements?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm you know what I've been thinking about now? What I think about now? Perhaps I've been procrastinating making decisions about requirements stalling on organizing them. Because it's people who makes gridfinity systems. They don't know what to make. They make a sorting system instead, because it's fun, you know. But it's cool to make a sorting system, but it's even cool to make another project. So yeah, it's great. Requirements are flexible, iterative, and the important thing is that you have a well-defined problem to find solutions for, to explain why I'm using the silicon printer down a branch, and organization of the requirements is secondary. And I think I have been procrastinating. Actually, I think it's hard for me to design freeze stuff, and that's what the design requirements force me to do. So immediately when we start working, sorry, I went to the wrong tab here. Immediately when we start working here, I think we're down here. Yeah, I'm like, I feel this like, it's not perfect, but you're right. It doesn't have to be. I interrupted you a little bit. It's because I think that we're soon out of time here, but this branch
getting
would
close to ending.
Yeah, this branch would lead down to the resin printer.
Yeah, I would say so. I can. I mean, you won't like it, but I can really quickly write something there because we'll get.
Please do. I think that would be a perfect way to end the stream. Actually,
I have a couple of notes before we end, so
yeah.
You're gonna have some time
I'll
to wrap up
just write some down then.
You want to write while Hannes is taking the notes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. So the chat, I can't show all the chats. The program has been bugging me a little bit, but we got a donation from Dani Rango, a €5 donation. I can't pull it up on screen right now, but he says you should research component decoupling a little bit. There are right and wrong ways on how to branch/break down problems, at least in software design. So we're leaving you with that, Martin. Something called component decoupling. That sounds professional. Thank you so much, Danny, for the donation. And then we have another donation from Jimmy that says you will use microphones / electronics to be heard. Why not use lights, electronics to be seen? I feel the no electronics is a bit too strict.
Thank you for that feedback, and thank you for the support for both of you.
Yeah, and we have one last one from our friend Martin with a comment that says DRs are a support scaffold, not a judge and jury. So 3 very generous donations. Great feedback from everyone. That's about it from me.
Fantastic, and thank you everyone. And I feel like Jasper has been spreading gold for all of us here. And you're going quick here from the vibraphone must have 37 notes. The vibraphone should sound good on its own, no processing. The marbles must hit off center. The vibraphone plate should produce no extra noise when hit.
And now we collapse the branch.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna have to zoom out to show you. So the vibraphone should produce no extra noise when hit, and that's when we're gonna pass the chasm over to the solution. Yeah, that's why I need a silicon, a soft material that doesn't produce us another sound. Yeah. You already collapsed the branch now?
Well, technically, there's some extra things here, but we can add that later. But like the real requirement that this all comes from is the vibraphone must sound good on its own, right?
Yeah.
We don't want it to be noisy, and I also added the marbles must hit off center, as you discovered yesterday, because then it has the nasty overtones.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So marbles must hit off center is already a solution, right? And vibraphone plates should produce no extra noise when hit. There's some extra things there, like making sure the marbles actually bounce off the plate instead of like landing and rolling on them or whatever.
Yep.
And also the plates must be strung up with the silicone, so it doesn't rattle the wire or whatever the extra noise comes from.
So, but where, for example, if I have this idea, I want to test if the plates should move or not.
Yes.
It's so that's basically comes from a should. It comes from a should that the instrument should communicate the music it's playing visually.
Mhm.
And that's a should, and I want to investigate that now this afternoon. So that goes back to your slide of finding different solutions, I guess.
I think that it moving, the whole movement is part of a different branch of the vibraphone than the silicon holders, because I think you will also use a similar method if you don't have moving plates, right?
Yeah, true.
So this is part of it sounding good, but if you're just looking at how the plates are held, that's a different feature that the vibraphone has.
Yeah, but
Like
the actual design of the silicone holders would look very different if the plates would not move. So, in a way,
Right.
we're in both branches at the same time, of course.
Yeah, but that's like that's very like one branch isn't always one. Sometimes a problem is in two branches, and that's what the requirements are for, because you keep track of that. And it will be messy just because so many things will interconnect. But if you're just looking at, okay, the silicon itself, using silicon, that's part of it sounding good.
Yeah.
And then the way that you design that silicon, that will be in the vibraphone holder branch, or the plate holder branch.
Yeah. Jasper, I want to finish off with one last question. We're gonna. I had feedback from on the email from a person, a professor, I think, teaching design requirements in the US, and he showed me a template spreadsheet, and then everything was in one huge tab. So it was just a long list of eternal scroll, and I start to feel. So this is a very, like, I'm back to my organization. I start to feel that all these tabs are super annoying. I absolutely hate them because I get. Would you say in your method, well, like what you're suggesting, could we just delete all of them and just have higher up is higher level and just do it in one huge scroll, the whole thing?
You could do that, yes. I think that if that works for you, that's perfect. The main reason for the tabs initially was also just, if you go down the branch, like the machine must have a vibraphone, you could add all of the sub requirements for that in a different tab. But you can also group it in this one sheet, and that will have the same effect, really.
Yeah, the groups here, are the tabs. It's the same thing. It's just,
essentially.
I just feel like it's easier to maintain, to see the whole machine in one place would be fantastic. It's just an inspiration thing. And look at me, back to the organization thing. But yeah, okay. So I'm amazed, Jasper, about being so lucky to have people like you engaging with my dream of building a marble machine. You have been amazing today and made a lot of coin drops. It takes some time for me to internalize. I noticed during the end of the stream my stomach ache came back, so I'm not completely
sorry
cured.
about that.
I'm not completely cured yet, but I think you've laid out a fantastic groundwork for. So it's been super useful to me. I'm sure it's been useful to the viewers as well. So I can't thank you enough. And I asked you before the stream if you had anything to promote, and you were like, no. So I don't know if people wanna interact with you. Can they find you, or don't you want to be found?
I very, very rarely stream games on Twitch with under like twitch.tv/winterjas, the same as my username on the live streams here.
Twitch.tv.
Are you Winterjas?
Winterjas.
I am Winterjas, yes.
Oh my goodness. Coin drop for me then. I see your name all the time.
It's my name is Jasper. That's the Jas part, and my birthday is the first day of winter.
Oh wow, okay. Cool. And now I'm starstruck.
I came up with the name before I realized that in Dutch it also just means like a winter coat, the word. So
That's awesome. Okay.
That's fantastic.
Winterjas. Okay.
So Winterjas on Twitch. Yeah. Brilliant. What else can I say? Hannes can hype this up. Thank you so much, Jasper. I'm gonna play the outro.
Play the outro, and I will just wrap things up. Can't thank Jasper enough, and I feel like Martin is slowly grasping some of these stuff. It's a huge topic, and if you're not inclined to find this super interesting, Martin wants to build, Martin wants to create, but he has to do this. This is a struggle for him, I know it, but he's learning. I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of all you that are watching these streams. See you this afternoon when we're going to be prototyping some more vibraphone bar holders. Okay. Thank you so much for today. See ya.